Try to run me through, hold on, think again, don't you know what you're starting? But you sure ain't got a clue how bad this will go, don't you know my art of war. And as you look to the horizon, not a cloud, but then stormy weather's caught you cold. Seems like it crept up out of nowhere, all around you, it's not quite what you foretold. You'll never see it coming. You'll see that my mind is too fast for eyes. You're done in. By the time it's hit you, your last surprise.
Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday, one and all, and welcome, one and all to the Office Hours stream. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I know I am. How's it going? Everybody coming in. Welcome to the stream. My name is Nubbins Inc. I have been a content creator for a very, very long time, and I help run the Streamlabs Office Hours every week, where we teach you how to be a better streamer. Today, I am incredibly excited to be joined by my guest, the one and only Haylight Hunter. Haylight, how are you doing, my friend?
Howdy. I'm fantastic, dude. I'm stoked to get to sit here and yap about content. I think it's the thing that I do best is yap. So
I love it. I love it.
Perfect setup. Thanks
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is, at its core, a show to help you all be a better streamer. Specifically today, we're going to be focusing on not streaming. We're going to be focusing on social media. Social media is a cornerstone component to every content creator's presence on the internet, and I think it's safe to say that there are very few out there who have done it better than Haylight, so we're really stoked to have you on the show. Like I said, this is a show that is ostensibly meant to be helping you better your content, to be helping you better your presence as a content creator on the internet in such a competitive market. So if you do have questions, please do feel free to throw them into the chat. I'm going to be monitoring and picking some of the great insightful questions that drive the conversation, and we'll be talking about them. So as a way of getting started, Haylight, tell the audience a little bit about yourself for the maybe 10 people in the world who haven't heard about you yet. How did you get started with content creation? How did you get to be where you are today?
First off, that's good gas. Appreciate that. Not sure how true it is, but I appreciate it. No, so I got started in content. Dude, that's such a tough question because I feel like there are different levels of starting content. Like the first time you stream and it's like you do it once every couple months, or whenever you start taking it seriously. So I'll go whenever I started taking it seriously, but I was essentially the iPad kid before the iPad kid was a thing. My face was in my phone. I was always watching PewDiePie. And I have some I was really watching YouTube because I grew up in rural Oklahoma with nothing to do. Give a little Oklahoma sign back there. Yeah, shout out. So, I just loved watching YouTube as a kid. And then my senior year of college, well, really my sophomore year of college, I started kind of streaming, but I didn't think it was something that was actually pursuable. Then my senior year of college, I was like, I'm going to give it a go. Who cares? And then I really fell in love with entertaining people. And from there, it's just always evolved into more and more opportunities trying to entertain people. So I think that live streaming was really where all that started, and having the chat here where you can directly interact with people was something I really fell in love with. There's nothing like hitting a clip and then looking at the chat and being oh my gosh, this is electric. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Like, I just think it was so much fun to perform for people. So, and then that evolved over time into me falling in love with writing and storytelling and social media. And I've had some like incredible mentors. And we could talk about that. Like, right now I'm making a documentary about, essentially, I had Ludwig like message me on Twitter, and for 30 days, he like kind of taught me how to make content and stuff. And so that was like an insane opportunity that like doesn't happen to people. And so we're like working on making that story the best that we can make it right now. So like throughout my time, there's a lot we can expand on over the couple hours that we have and talk about. But basically, I was an iPad kid that got super duper lucky to be sitting in this chair today, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I mean, similarly, I think, maybe a little bit less iPad kid because I think I'm a little bit older than you, but, similarly, constantly online, fascinated with the internet, fascinated with people and how they interact on this medium of human connectivity is really what it comes down to. So you said you got started streaming, but streaming wasn't sort of your most influential platform, right? So if Twitch was your first platform, what would you say was your most influential platform? Like, where did you experience that first like explosive growth?
Explosive growth first time was definitely TikTok, but it all, for the longest time, it was all driven through stream. And so I feel like the way that I've learned and why I think that this podcast is so helpful is like I basically like learned everything from failing. And so I think at the time that I got started, there wasn't a whole lot of information on how to make short form content and like how to have that explosive growth. And then if there was information on how to have explosive growth, there was zero information on how to sustain it, grasp a hold of it, and like hold on to it. And so basically, like, I would just do stuff on stream, and then I'd be like, yo, that might be funny to do. And I would upload to TikTok. And I mean, if you go to my Instagram, there's still like, you can go and see my like first uploads and stuff. Like literally, like I would get like a 2-piece kill and I'd like upload it. And I was like, this is going to change my world. Like I'm the next ninja. Which is like hilarious to look back on, but you need that. Like you need to be like, I'm the next ninja. Like you pop a 2-piece and you're literally like, not entertained, chat. Who in here is not having a good time? You know what I mean? Like you need that belief in yourself and like you need to enjoy this more than you need to want to grow. And so, I experienced explosive growth on TikTok. But that happened numerous times. So I think that the best way that I can describe growth on platforms at this point is like, you'll hear a lot of people say content creation is exponential, growth is exponential. I think it's more logistic. So like if like a log function, let me see if I got, so it goes right. So like it goes up and then it tapers off and plateaus. So it's like X to the third. And then what you do in that plateau is what's going to define whether or not you go up again, or if you go back down and it becomes quadratic. Hopefully I'm remembering the couple calculus classes I took properly. But yeah, like I think that TikTok was super influential, but I would still say that Twitch was the most influential platform for me, just because I feel like Twitch kind of taught me a lot about entertaining people. And like, that's what this is really all about. Like at the end of the day, like this isn't about me. This isn't about anyone on the internet. This is about the person who's like sitting in their chair and hoping to be entertained by the stream. And I think that like that mindset is what Twitch taught me. And it's the most important thing that I've been able to utilize as I move up to different mediums of creating content. Like someday I want to make movies, but I still think that what I learned on Twitch and being really consumer focused and focused on the people who are watching me and not focused on my own glory, my own growth, is what has ironically enabled me to grow so much. I think that like whenever you entertain someone and you give them something that they really enjoyed, they're going to come back. And I think that there are a lot of people, specifically in short form content, and I would love to expand on this later, that make what I call Cracker Jack box content. And so I don't know if you like know this meme. It's like, it's real old. And I have older parents. So like it's the concept that you buy a bunch of Cracker Jack boxes and then you get to the riddle, like you collect the boxes and you get to the riddle at the end and you're like, break it all down, and then the riddle is just like, once you decode it, it's like, buy more Cracker Jacks.
Yep.
Like, so it's like people will make videos and like just their whole goal is to get your ass to the end. And then once you get to the end, they're like, thanks for watching. Peace out. And then like, to me as a consumer, the next time I see their face, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I'm not watching that. And so I think if you do the opposite and you're like, how can I create the most value possible for anyone who sees like my mug? Then you have a career in content. And so I think that that's what Twitch taught me is like, the viewers come and they go, and viewers come and they go, and they come and they go, and they come and they go. But to build a community and to have a group of people that really, really like you is to be focused on entertaining them every day. And so I would 100% still say that Twitch is my most influential platform for teaching that to me.
Amazing. Love that. One thing that you talked about in there that I wanna kind of dig a little bit deeper into, you know, that idea of failing, getting up, trying it again. What would you say has been the failure that you've learned the most from? Because I think everybody who reaches, and I'll expand a little bit on this. I know it's a tough question. I get there. I get it because
funny.
I can talk about this for myself.
Bringing up exes or what?
I mean, hey, listen, we can get into dating advice and therapy if you want.
It's so
but
funny.
no, but like because for me, right, like I think every content creator who reaches a certain level of success, however you want to define that success, be it concurrent viewership or following on Twitch or, you know, TikTok, like average views, whatever. Every content creator has had that moment of like, nope, I should have maybe leaned into this a little bit more. I should have maybe taken advantage of this a little bit more. Oh, I didn't see this momentum building until it had already passed me by. So like,
right.
You know, do you have a moment looking back on your career? And like, that's not to say that, you know, that has at all stopped you, like that it clearly hasn't stopped your momentum at all, because I think that's an important thing to recognize as well, is that you know, maybe you missed that one opportunity, but that doesn't mean that your career is over. That doesn't mean like, oh, hang it up, you're washed, right? Like, so what do you think was that maybe failure moment, that stumbling point where you were like, oh, I see it, I'll recognize it next time, and I will take advantage of it next time?
Yeah, so I want to pull from the chat here. Mr. Toxin said, I've seen people get to the point where they want to quit, and I'm like, don't quit, keep going. You'll get there at some point. It takes a while. Twitch is huge, but there's some welcoming communities that will check you out, if that makes sense. So I love that. I think that there are levels to thought and content, and I think that first level of positivity is the most important thing whenever you're getting started, and it should build the foundation to growth. And so what I mean by that is as you grow as a creator, what got you to 10,000 followers isn't going to be what gets you to 100,000 followers, isn't going to be what gets you to 1 million, and so on and so forth, right? Like at this point in my career, I have a video that's gotten me 450,000 subscribers, which is like, I literally cannot comprehend that has happened. You know what I mean? Like, it's like from me like uploading, and then literally the last video I uploaded got 1,000 views. Like, bro, it's like, this is failure. This isn't like everything about content creation and art and what we do. And I genuinely believe this in life, but I don't want to go too far. So my personal opinion is life, but I will stand on for content that content is failure. And let me explain why. The only way to learn is to fail, right? Like, to truly learn something is to fail or get taught by someone who has already failed. So it still goes, the root of learning something is from someone who has failed. So it's either you or it's someone else. And with content, who came before us? Like, and then if they did come before us, who is taking it upon themselves to like go and teach people? It's like very few, like huge creators, and like they do it. And like they'll go and they'll talk about it and they'll explain it. And then it's like, okay, you can listen to them, but you still don't even have the context until you fail yourself. And so I love the mindset of like, don't quit, keep going. But I think that you can elevate that to like, great, what did you learn from that? What can you take away from that small failure? And I think that is the most important thing. So let me give 2 anecdotes. I'll talk about one. Whenever I was a small streamer trying to make it, and then it like kind of sparked everything. And then I'll talk about one recently that I experienced that like once again created a system for me that I can run with. So whenever I was smaller, Just in terms of raw numbers, like I was the same person then whenever the numbers were different that I am now. And so like I don't want to be like when I was a small streamer, like that devalues anyone. Like I think that that's also super important to note. Just a small tangent is like it doesn't matter like the size. Like if you let that matter, like pause, but it will really affect your ability to like have that faith in yourself of keep going. But whenever I was smaller, like if someone wouldn't come back, I'd be like, man, I wasn't entertaining enough. Like if people were like, Hunter, like your energy's down today. Hey, like, are you having a bad day? Like comments like that would like really get to me. And I was like, man, because you have the camera in your face and you can't hide it. Like you can try your hardest to hide it, but like whenever you are having a good day or you're having a bad day, people know, especially if they like really watch. So that would really affect me versus me being like, man, it's so cool that people know so much about me that they can notice whenever I'm having a bad day. Like, how insane is that?
Yeah.
But I was in the headspace of like, man, I can't hide from like whenever I'm having a bad day. Like, and it was so negative for me. And then fast forward to now on YouTube, I posted back-to-back Small Hands, which has like 60 million views, and then Extremely Nervous, which has like 74 million views now. Who's counting though? But and the reason why I say that is the very next video I didn't even get 1 million. And the reason why I say didn't even get 1 million, it like whenever you have a huge influx of views, YouTube is like going to show those 100 million people that new video to be like, hey, is this one good too? And so the fact it didn't even get to 1 million means that like, oh crap, like I did something wrong with that. And so then it could go right back to, oh, what am I doing? I don't know. Or you could be like, whoa, what did I do in those first two that I didn't do here? And then I did that. Like, thank goodness I had the wherewithal to do that at that point in content. And from that, I found literally like so many resources about writing. And I realized that I didn't make a great new creation. What I did was accidentally write a perfect beat sheet for a video. Like I hit every beat that you would want to hit in a movie, but I did it in short form and I had no idea that I'd done this. And so I found this resource that I could take and apply to my system. So now I can systematically ensure that I am not missing a beat. Like that's where this, like you don't want to miss a beat in your videos. And so like now I have the beat sheet and I have those resources to like make those videos. And so the moral of this is whenever you fail, there's something in it, because if you cross-reference it to your successes, why? And like as a content creator, I've said this a couple of times already, like there are levels. And so like level 1 is just throwing poop at the wall. Like you're throwing stuff at the wall. You're just trying to get anything to hit. Level 2 is you're successful and you don't know why. And then level 3 and above is like, if a video doesn't do well, you can break it down and analyze why. And the reason why that's like the highest level, in my opinion, is whenever you go to other people's content and they're murdering and you're like, wow, what are they doing? You can break down what they're doing, find the why, and then not copy them, because fundamentally you're like, okay, this is what they're doing. And so you don't cop their whole flow, and then you can create your own brand and have a good time. And so figuring out why things work and why they don't is so important. So failure is content. Like literally it's because it reveals those opportunities to find out why something worked or why it didn't. So it might seem like I'm yapping, but truly, like even the being consistent, almost perfectly consistent, helps a lot. Like, yes, because it opens up those opportunities of like, why is this working? Why is it not? And you can get more data and figure out like, okay, this worked because of this. And we isolate that variable, and then you can keep moving knowing that this is what I should do. And so that I get super, maybe I'm a nerd, but I get geeked out on like the analytics and
but that's
behind this stuff. I think it's so cool.
But that's exactly the thing, right? Is that not just with content creation, not just with like, you know, your streams, not just with like your short form video, like for all social media, you have to approach it with curiosity. Like if you have that, if you have and you know, I think mindset is so important to this, right?
That's
because
Cody's whole thing is be curious. I swear. That's why I love him.
You have to approach it all with curiosity. You have to approach it all with, okay, you know, the numbers didn't quite number this time. Why? Like, and so much of that involves removing your ego from it, right? Which is, we've talked about it before. It's really, 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 really hard. All right.
Yeah.
Because when you are a content creator, especially if you are a content creator who is out there putting your face out there, putting your personality out there, especially if you are a content creator who, you're just being yourself on camera a lot of the time, like me. It's what you don't realize you're doing is you are putting yourself up as you are as a person up for consumption, right?
Yeah.
You are putting yourself out there as a commodity to be consumed.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when people aren't buying what you're selling, it's very easy for you to look at yourself and say, "Oh, it's me. I'm the problem. Me as I am as a person, as a human being, am the problem." And it's the numbers aren't numbering because people don't like me and the person that I am, and I should just crawl into a hole and give up, right? But being able to view these kinds of failures dispassionately, to be able to take your ego out of it and say, okay, it's not who I am as a person. It's not, what I look like. It's not what I sound like.
Yes.
There's something else to it, and being able to distill what that thing is will help you grow in leaps and bounds. It is approaching failure with curiosity, not with self-deprecation, which I think is a huge hurdle for so many people getting into content creation, is not taking those things so personally. There were a couple of comments in the chat saying, I stream for almost every day, streaming 8 hours a day. I'm not getting views. My problem is I get no viewers. These are signals.
Why?
Yeah. Why are you not getting viewers?
Why? Yeah. Like you said, the why is the most important. Why are you not getting viewers?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's I always come back to it, and I recognize that this is a line delivered by a villain in this game from Far Cry 3, but however told you the definition of insanity, right? It's doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result.
My coach used to say that to me.
Yeah, you need to change things up. When you have a month of streams every single day with nobody watching, that's telling you something. And you have to be open to distilling out what that is telling you, what that quote unquote failure is telling you. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I wanna take a step back, and first off, I agree with everything you said. But I think that
it is Albert Einstein, yeah, but everybody knows it from Far Cry 3, but it is Albert Einstein, yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, my tennis coach coined it 10 years ago.
All right, there you go.
Guys. So, but no, I want to take a step back and acknowledge that where we're sitting right now, it can seem as though it's a little preachy. We're like, guys, you need it. And it's imagine. So I have 2 notes on how you can get past the ego, but the first thing I want to acknowledge is, imagine that we're not talking down to you all. Imagine that we're sitting there and talking to our past selves. And it's man, I wish someone would have been like, hey, man, maybe make a video. You know what I mean? And so it's not that it's truly out of love, because it's looking at our past selves and man, I wish someone would have said something to me. And so it's imagine that we're loving ourselves and our past experiences in talking to you guys. So if we seem passionate, it's because truly we are passionate. So, with that said, I'm gonna get preachy again. But there's 2 things. The first thing with ego is just remembering the concept of what ego is and what isn't. Ego is designed to protect yourself, and so to put the ego aside is to put your defenses to the side, and then you're vulnerable. So to work on that, you're taking the right steps. You're streaming. You're putting yourself out there. It's very vulnerable. And then since you're already in a vulnerable state, your ego is even more this has to work. And so I think that just acknowledging that you're just trying to protect yourself from embarrassment, and you want to be successful, and it's something you really want, and you're really really trying to be passionate and accomplish your goals and dreams. If you want to accomplish them, it's so important to just take your ego and put it over the side. And so it's not a negative thing that you want to protect yourself. It's human, it's healthy. Everyone goes through it. And then I think that, the most important thing in terms of getting over it from a content sense is looking at the algorithm and looking at the number of viewers and all of the stuff, right? Everything that you can find. There's click-through rates, there's watch time, there's session time, there's demographics. It's all a culmination of one singular person sitting and watching. Like, I don't know how many people. There's 75 people watching right now. Okay. To us, big number, right? To everyone, every single one of you, you're watching the stream. One human is watching the stream. And so if you look at analytics as like one person giving you their honest feedback on your stuff, you can get rid of the ego and not remember it as a personal attack, but see it as honest feedback. Hey, this wasn't something I was interested in initially based off the hook. And so if you ask your friends, like, hey man, will you watch this? Like, they're going to, most of the time, just validate you and not actually give you feedback. Because like, that's not the hill that they're about to die on. Like, you know what I mean? And so look at the algorithm and the analytics as just one person and a culmination of all of those people telling you, hey, like, this hook wasn't interesting, or hey, your stream isn't interesting. And then the final thing I will say is if anyone out there streaming to 0 viewers, this is what I'm gonna tell you. You can make the greatest soda on the planet. It can be the tastiest thing of all time. Where are we gonna buy that soda at? What's it made out of? It's your job as the person who made the soda to tell people that the soda exists. Because you could have the best soda of all time, but I can't try it. Where am I gonna get it at? Like, there's so many questions, like, where do I go to get it? How much does it cost? Like, all of those things, like, and that's what content is. It is the marketing for your product. So if you want to be a streamer, you need to learn how to market your stream. Look at this as a business. And people will like want to run away from looking at it as a business, but it's much more healthy to recognize it for what it is. It is a business, and then come to terms with that and transcend past like, oh, I need money, this is a business, and into like, the business side of this is what enables me to do what I enjoy, which is entertain people. And once you get there, like, okay, cool. Like now we have something moving. And so there, like, I will always say there are steps to this. So feel human where you're at in the content creation process. Like there could be people with literally 30,000 viewers having the most intense imposter syndrome, because like all we want to do as humans is like feel like included and feel like people can relate to us and stuff. And so just know, everyone that watches, just one person. No one's trying to be mean to you. Honestly, like, I tell myself this every single day. I swear, it seems toxic. Like, nobody cares. I tell that every single time I upload it. Nobody cares, Hunter. And then, how do I make them care? And then, like, that's what makes good content. And so, yeah.
Totatui, like, sell yourself to people and tell them and show them why you're good. So
not the first part.
Not exactly. Like it's
there's a definition for that.
Yeah, it's essentially like the content that you make has to sell itself in a way, right? Like the content has to be good content. Like and I'm kind of going back to what's something that you said earlier, Halite, which is uploading that 2-piece on Warzone and feeling like a god. Like, the content has to sell through what the rest of the content is, right? Yeah. And so what we're starting to talk about is finding your niche, right? And this is important not just on the stream side of things, but also the short form video side of things, the long form video side of things. It invades every part of your social media presence. So it's that matter of creating content that exposes new viewers to what the rest of your content looks like, right? It's when people talk about consistency, everybody thinks scheduling. It's so much more than scheduling, right? It's about consistency of tone. It's about consistency of what you're doing. It's about consistency across all things. Yeah. Right? Because, to go back to your soda example, right? If you were to go pick up, a Pepsi in California and then,
but I like Coke though.
Okay, we do Coke, yeah. No, but if you were to go get like a bottle of Coke in California and then you were to fly to New York and buy a bottle of Coke and all of a sudden it tastes different, it looks different, it smells different, it doesn't like, the experience is completely different. All of a sudden, you're going to start questioning your brand loyalty to Coke, right? Think about McDonald's, right? You can go pretty much anywhere in the world. Yes, they have regional whatever, but like you can go pretty much anywhere in the world and get a Big Mac. It's going to be more or less the same Big Mac no matter where you go because it's consistent, right? So if people are going to your TikTok and seeing pet videos and seeing like everything all about your cat, your dog, they're adorable, I know, but then they come to your Twitch and it's all, super hype, loud, air horn, flamethrowers in the background, Warzone gameplay. And then they go to your Instagram and it's just food pictures, right? You're presenting 3 completely different views of what your content is to different audiences, none of whom really enmesh, right? And like, yes, there are people who get away with doing this. That's because they already have a massive audience, right? Like the people who are able to like devote their Instagram to just like vacation photos, despite the fact that they are like a gaming content creator, it's because they've already established a massive audience. And so they already have an audience of people who are interested in seeing that side of themselves, right? Because their Warzone gameplay, their food, whatever, their pictures of their pets, that's not the commodity anymore. The commodity is them. The commodity is their name and their brand, right?
They're not growing there. They're deep. They're trying to connect deeply with the people who are finding them on growth websites, which is what streaming is too. You're not growing on stream. You are connecting deeper with the people who've already found you.
Exactly. So when you are starting out, having that consistency, having that content that sells itself, that is share worthy, that is worth people's time and attention in an attention economy is so important, right?
Yeah.
Because if you are just doing and I don't mean to talk down on your 2-piece, I'm sure it was great, but everybody has a clip of a double kill.
You might find yourself in Rust.
Dude, that's a game that I refuse to touch.
You don't want that.
I refuse to touch that game. But that's what I'm saying though, right? Is that like everybody has a clip of an ace. Everybody has a clip of a double kill on Warzone. Everybody has a clip. Like that's not differentiating enough.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, my favorite example, because there are so many Call of Duty content creators out there, right? There's so many. It's a very popular franchise. A ton of people are like recording their stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
My favorite example of a Call of Duty content creator is Timmy Toucans, right? Recognizable. Why? Not because he got a squad wipe, not because he was got like 5 put together a 5-piece whatever. Like it's because he did something interesting and creative within the game that is share worthy, that he can then bring to his live content, that he can bring to his long form content, that he can bring to his short form content. And once you break that down, like the gaming content there, you can start to see, oh, okay, I see how it's repeatable. I see how it's interesting. I see how it's novel. I see how it's exciting and people want to share it and all of those things. So you need to start asking yourself as well, across all of the content that you produce for all of the social platforms, how are you doing that for yourself? What are you bringing to the table that's new, that's fresh, that's exciting, that's share worthy, that's going to want to make people, send that video to, their 5 friends who play the same game as you on TikTok to be like, yo, you got to check out what this person just did.
Yeah. I have a question that I typically ask people that I'm like hiring at this point, and I think that it will solve holistically everything that we're talking about in terms of growth and making content and all of this stuff. Like I think that this one question will be something that everyone should like really meditate on, like really think about this. Like don't just be like, psh, of course. The question is, if you were a billionaire, what would you do every day? And whatever that answer is what you need to start pursuing. If it is content, that's what you should do. Because like let's realistically, a year or two of being a billionaire, I bought the cars, I bought the houses, I've done the philanthropic work. Like you've enjoyed those fruits of your labor. Now what? What are you going to do every day? And if the answer is not stream, if it's not make content, if it's not make videos, like this is not going to be the thing that like brings happiness to you. And I think that that's the most important thing. Like whenever you're thinking about making a video. Like if you you could have 0 viewers and be happy streaming because that's what you want. But if what makes you happy is entertaining people, like, okay, that's what if the answer is like, I would want to entertain people if I was a billionaire. Okay, so let's do anything that we can to entertain people. Like if you have to make a video to promote your stream. If you have to go and become a part of an improv group, go do that. If this medium is what you think is the best way for you to connect people and entertain people, then that's phenomenal. And so like, I think that that's what people are really missing and will lose as they get started in streaming is that why. Like you need a really strong why to get started. And I feel like most people are like, heck yeah, like I would do this if I was a billionaire. Like, of course I would do this. Who wouldn't want to play video games all day and like share it with people that they love and like have a good time? Of course, because like that's how everyone gets started. Like we just love playing games, or maybe you love entertaining. Like there's some love there. And whenever you start to lose sight of that love and why you were doing this, it all blows up. And so like you need to ask yourself that every day. If I was a billionaire, what would I do? Because if you get so caught up in the money and the growth and the freedom from having to have a normal job, it's going to keep you from getting to do the thing that you love most. And in my case, like that's making people laugh and writing videos. And whenever someone watches a video and then they message me and they're like, yo, bro, like this is insane. Like you can hear it in my voice. Like that is what I want to do for the rest of my life, period. I want to create and tell stories that are unique and that people can't find anywhere else. And like that level of passion, like it doesn't matter. I can fail for 50 years on paper, but like I will never see myself as a failure because I love this. Like I love it. Like money does not define your happiness. Success does not define your happiness. You doing what you want to do every day, or at least pursuing what you want to do, is like what will bring you that happiness. And then once you establish that really strong conviction as to why you're doing it, now it's time to learn. Now it's time to do anything that you can to establish that and sustain it. And so I think that with that, that's really the starting point. Whenever I say that there are levels, it's like you identify what you want and then you break it down. Like you need to start at the top and then go down. Like I want to do this every day and I don't want anything to get in the way, because that's the concept of being a billionaire. You want to be able to do whatever you want to do every single day and nothing get in the way. And if the streaming is what you want to do every single day, no matter what, okay, let's break that down to what can you do today to build you up to that level. And like, that's what I want to sit here and talk about. And that's what the message I really want to share with you guys. And like, I will go down like how I think that works and stuff. And so, I don't want to be the guy that's like, guys, you could do it. Yeah. Maybe this is not for you, but I also don't want to be the guy that's like, it's so hard. You'll never make it. It's like, the reality is there's an in-between. Most people fall in the middle. Most people are not going to be Ninja. Most people are not going to be Jinxie. Most people are not going to be Ludwig. Most people are not going to be on the small end. But there are a lot of people who can make careers doing this and live a happy life and really love what they do every day. And like, that's the goal. That's what we should be pursuing. And so I think that in terms of overall content, if your vision is very clear, it makes everything else way easier. Like, how can your ego get in the way whenever your goal is to get there? Like, if you're trying to protect yourself from getting to your goal, like it's like they're conflicting. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like your goal is to get here and you're actually holding yourself back. The ego has to go to the side. Yeah. And so I think that it's great. I think that the ability that we have as humans to do whatever we want at this point in society, like throughout human history, is incredible. Like the fact that we get to sit here and do this, like, is so cool. And I think that if you let it, content will take that joy and like that light in your eyes out. And you have to really, really meditate every day on like why you started doing this.
Yeah, no, definitely, because it's that idea of losing sight of that cardinal direction, right? That core motivation of why you got started, and I think that and I think that let's begin at the beginning, right? Let's talk about how to even get started, right? Let's talk. You're brand new. You've just decided, hey, I'm watching these two guys talk about making content right now. I want to learn how to I want to get started right now. Like, in terms of where to even begin, what would you say is your step zero, right? What is your step zero?
If I was to start over again, or like what everyone would like want to hear?
If you were to start over again right now from nothing, what is your step zero?
Everyone remember, I'm talking to old me. I'm not like I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to old me. So as blunt as I'm about to be is me talking to myself.
Yep.
I'm not being mean to you. Here's what I would do. I mean this. I would write down on a piece of paper my pros and my cons as a human. I'm so serious. Am I funny? Am I attractive? Am I smart? Am I witty? And I would go down. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? For me, this tooth is out of whack, and so I have Invisalign. But like, I've literally had Invisalign for 2.5 years, and it won't work. So I get comments like, "Hey, bro's teeth look like the Gates of Mordor," and I'm like, "Bro, I'm trying." You know what I mean? Because I know. You know what I'm saying? So
brutal,
like,
man.
how can you give my ass? If I wrote it down, I know it's there. Like you're not gonna catch me out. And so it's so vital to know yourself whenever you start doing this, because people will come at you. They're going to. Period. It's gonna happen. And so write down your pros, write down your cons, and understand these are my weaknesses, these are my strengths. Okay, cool. Let's run at your strengths. Let's remember to run at your strengths, and then try to find people who can supplement your weaknesses. So if you don't have a good eye for creativity, can you go find a content creator that you can be mentored by? Can you find an editor who is willing to work with someone who's just getting started? Can you find resources to help make up for those cons? Can you find Invisalign to fix your tooth? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, can you find ways to solve those problems? And then the way that you can balance the wins and losses is remembering, why did this not work? And then why am I doing it? So a lot of people be like, find your why. Is way more important to keep asking why. Like, it's not like we experience failure, but like, remember that like you would do this if you were a billionaire. Yeah, like that's like the end of an anime. Like, awesome. But like, fundamentally, to like keep going, like you need to be like, okay, my why is I would do this regardless. And then there's a next step, which is, okay, we're like regained. We're mentally stable again. This is my ego. Like, okay, now why did this not work? Like, there's that next step of like, we have to learn from these mistakes. And so, and if you already know, hey, this is one of my cons. This didn't work because I'm not as funny as other people. So like, okay, how can I fix that? I need to go into streams with like written jokes. Like I need to have stuff that I could teach. Like I need, if I see an opportunity and I need to start watching comedians and I need to go being part of improv groups and I need to start trying to fix those cons of my personality to elevate on stream so you could compete. And then the way that you do that, reminder, is continuing to go into those strengths. Remember, run at your strengths, run at them. Do not run away from them. It's the best way to fail, because if you're like, you're so good and then you keep getting this constant reminder, like, I'm bad. It's because you're trying to elevate your cons. But you need to remember your strengths. Like, you know, if you're beautiful, you're beautiful. If you're super funny, you're super funny. And there's like, everyone has individualistic characteristics I kind of spit. No, but everyone has those things about them that make them special. And I think that in pursuit of equality, we have gotten rid of people embracing their individualistic traits. And like, you know, like I have blue eyes, blessing for me. That's awesome. Some people don't have blue eyes. Some people are so much funnier than me. I will sit and watch my friends who can just like make people laugh, and I'm like, man, I would love to make people laugh. But then there are people who look at me, they're like, man, I would love to have blue eyes. And if we do that until the ends of the earth, like I promise you'll never make it. I promise. But if you just acknowledge, like, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, I need to elevate my weaknesses, I need to work, and I need to lean into my strengths, starting in content will be way less rocky. And then, I'm sorry, that's just holistically the mindset. And then to actually like start making videos, remember to lean into those strengths. Like find something that is a strength of yours. If you're really funny, like make a video that's really funny, and then just try to find a style that is your personality that's really funny. And if you've done a good job breaking down that why didn't this work? Why? You can go look at other creators who are really good and say, why is their funny content working? And then make content.
Yeah. And I want to really emphasize that idea of running at your strengths, because I think I see a lot of people, especially in like the newer streamer discourse, you know, the people, and I don't mean like the brand new people. I mean the people who've been doing it for like 6 months and are maybe stagnating a little bit. The people who have been doing
like
it for
the top of the curve.
Exactly. Who have hit that hit that plateau and are not seeing the growth anymore, and point to every single one of their weaknesses as a reason why they are not growing. the one that I hear all the time, oh man, I would be so much more successful if I was hotter, right? That you are, again, to your point, you are just
tooth, bro.
but to your point, you are just highlighting somebody else's strengths. That's really what it is, right? That's what it is. You're highlighting somebody else's strengths. You're not highlighting your own strengths, right? This is one of my favorite examples. There is so much appetite for content out there. There's so much appetite for content out there. You think you think that there wouldn't be my favorite example is there's this YouTube channel that I've been tracking for about 6 months, maybe a year now. All right. This guy just goes around to clogged drains around New England and unclogs them with a rake. That is his content. He has nearly a million subs on YouTube.
Yeah,
and it's 30-minute videos of him unclogging clogged drains by the side of the road with a rake.
Somebody got to do it.
Like,
somebody has to. It's incredible. I love that so much.
Yeah, and it's so satisfying to watch, and it's so obvious to your point that he loves this. He loves doing this. Like, this is something that he absolutely loves doing. So before you start telling yourself,
one of your past points. I hate to stop your flow, but
no,
continue.
continue.
One of your past points in this. Where else can you find someone unclogging drains with a rake? Name another channel.
Yep.
It doesn't exist. It literally does not exist. So he has a monopoly over that niche, which is what you were talking about before. Like it's so accurate.
Yeah.
It
like there's so much appetite for content out there. So whenever we say stuff like you'll find your audience, make what you want to make, you'll find your audience. That's what I'm talking about, right? That's what I'm talking about. There's a million people who tune in to watch this person unclog drains with a rake. Yeah. And it like going back a few years, some folks might not remember this, but the potato salad Kickstarter. The potato salad Kickstarter that happened, I think back in like 2016, something like that. Dude got onto Kickstarter and said, "Hey, I'm raising money. I need $15. I want to go to the grocery store and make some potato salad." That's it.
It's electric.
It was $15. I want to go make some potato salad.
Yes.
He raised, I think, like $70,000 and put on a whole live stream about making potato salad, raised money for like local food bank, wanted to put on like a live event concert to celebrate the making of potato salad. Like there is so much audience for anything out there. If you are just focused solely on what other people are doing better than you out of some random luck of, in your case, having blue eyes, you are only going to get in your own way. You're only going to keep telling yourself no. You're only going to keep telling yourself, I can't do this because of XYZ.
Yeah.
And once
there's always someone more attractive.
Mm-hmm. There's always going to be another bigger, better, whatever. Like, that's not the market you're competing in, right? The market you're competing in is your individual strengths. It's the things that make you unique. It's the things that make you interesting and worthwhile, and those are the things that people want to see, right?
Yeah.
So it's that point cannot be understated enough. Like it literally, or it can't be overstated enough. Like, it's so important to identify this is what makes me me. This is what makes my content compelling. This is what makes me interesting. How can I do more of that?
Yeah. It's just having a sense of identity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, like, what is success if it's someone else's?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you just copy other people and you watch the numbers go up, you're going to get imposter syndrome because you are an imposter. That's not your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, like you don't even like what you're making content about. Like, of course you're not happy. Like, and then imagine you're making content about stuff you don't like, and then it does badly.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Oh, you're so upset.
Yep.
So, yeah. But at the same time, you could just be hot. Chat, just be hot. It also that does help.
It's a strength. So There was hold on, I'm trying to find the question again. There was a question from earlier. Okay, I can't find it again. Sorry. So you've written down your pros and cons. You've written down your strengths and your weaknesses, right?
Mhm.
Now you're faced with all of the internet, all of social media.
Sure.
What's your step one? Where do you go from there? How do you even know like where to get started? Like how do you assess? And this is a concept that I always come back to, right? Because and we'll get into this. This was actually the question I think was something along the lines of like, you know, not being rich enough to ask a YouTuber for or another content creator for help, which there's a whole thing there.
I would literally go message people.
Yeah, you can literally just message people. And if they have the time or the inclination to, they'll respond. Also, just come ask us. But you know, the question is, with limited time and limited resources, what platform are you looking to maximize your ROI? Right? And I will happily talk about ROI, but yeah, like
all of them.
Every single one.
If you're making a video, like if you're making a video that you are super hopeful will bang on YouTube and you only make it for YouTube and you only upload it to YouTube, there are 2 other platforms for sure. And then depending on how obscure you get, maybe you could use Reddit. But like there's 2 other platforms. If you're not uploading on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, like you're like really hurt. And then depending, you could do LinkedIn. Like there are a lot of platforms. Let me explain why. All right, look. So this is how the algorithm works. Basically, TLDR. Your video is going to get a test audience. So like, let's say it's like 1,000 people. Awesome. You got 1,000 views. Based off how good or bad this video is, it's going to either keep getting views and then you'll get a larger sample size. So if you're a new creator, maybe like 10,000 people will, and then if it doesn't do well with the initial test audience, it's going to die. So then people are like, well, hey, like, how do I get the initial test audience to be the test audience I want? Great. Look at you. You're asking why. That's great.
Great question. Yeah.
Listen, you need to use titling and hashtags. Now, you might be like, Hunter, you don't use titles or hashtags. Great observation. It's because I make IRL content and I want the largest amount of people possible to see it because I want to make videos for 8 to 80-year-olds to be able to understand and enjoy. So my niche, my audience is everybody. So I do not want a specific target audience because it could affect my overall growth of my videos, right? So now let's go back to we're just getting started, okay? So then you got your 10,000 views. If it's good or bad, if it's good, you keep going. You get like 100,000 views and then it might die off. But this is so important to understand, okay? If you make videos that are super niche down, so let's say that you make off the top, let's say that you make videos about neon signs, but you don't just make videos about neon signs, you make videos about neon signs that you have handmade for kids, right? So your target audience is kids. So what do I mean? Like you don't have to make the signs for children, but the content is for kids. So what does that mean? It means the tone of your video is going to be more childlike. It's going to have more whooshes. It's going to have more fun sound effects. It's going to have lighter music. Okay, cool. So that audience is going to be much smaller than the audience of people who just want to watch LED signs. Because I'm 25, I'm not watching the kitty video about LED signs. Okay, that's just not happening. And so you could make the greatest of all time video about LED signs for kids and get 100,000 views because your niche is 100,000 people. When I could make the worst IRL video of all time and it still pisses out 10,000 views. It could be the worst just because my niche is so big that like the algorithm's like, I mean, well, maybe these people like it. I don't know. Like, because the algorithm's goal is to find people who like your content because the algorithm's goal is to keep people on their website. And the only way it can do that is by taking the content that's uploaded to it and finding the people who like that kind of content. And so literally what I would do is I would be like, man, which niche do I want to operate in? And then me personally, I would start off in a really small niche. Why? Because if you mess up, it's not that big of a deal. You haven't made a first impression with a lot of people versus me. If I make an IRL video and then all the people whom I want to see, or I want to see my content and consistently.
Yep, I got
Are we
you.
good? Wait.
Yep, we're good.
Are we back?
Yep.
We're alive.
We're good.
Okay.
You're good.
I'm right back. Okay. I'll take a step back. Okay. Versus me in IRL, if I know that that's where I want to operate in, I have one chance to make that first impression. Let's go back to the Cracker Jack box analogy. If I just scheme using retention hacks to get people to watch my video, the next time they see my face, they're not going to watch. So while you're trying to learn how to make content, pick a really small niche that you do not really care about and start uploading there so you can learn and you can fail, and it will not affect your overall long-term growth. Because what's our why? Our why is to get to a point where we can do this like if we were a billionaire with no one telling us that we can't, and that you get to choose what you do every day. It would be incredible. Okay. It would be the best for you. So what do we have to do? We have to have short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. But if you want to blow up in like 2 weeks, we can talk about that too.
Yeah.
But that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. You won't learn. You won't fail enough. And you need to create an environment where you feel comfortable to fail. And I did this. I played a game called VIGOR. It's Vigor. That's the game. And so it's maybe the smallest game of all time. It was an Xbox exclusive. Literally, it was so small. But I grew from 3 viewers to like 17 viewers. And I learned so much from that time. And then I moved up to Warzone. And then from Warzone, I went to IRL. That's streaming. And so then I was doing IRL streaming, like kind of doing everything. And then I started getting opportunities with brands. So I went to Fortnite. And then from Fortnite, I went to Fall Guys. And then from Fall Guys, I was like, man, I kind of want to do IRL mixed with gaming content. And then from there, I worked with the Bentist for a couple of months doing creative direction with him. And I was like, man, how the freaking heck does the Bentist hit certified hood classic bangers in terms of views every single time he uploads? I was like, man, everyone has teeth. His niche is huge. Everyone can relate to the Bentist's videos. So like he could put out a horrible video and still get way more views than me in Warzone. And it's because his niche is huge. And what's his strength? He is an orthodontist, which if you don't know, to be an orthodontist, not only do you have to graduate dental school, you have to be like first or second in your class of dental school. So him being an orthodontist, like very few orthodontists, and then being an attractive, tall, funny orthodontist, like bro, he has 20 million followers. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got his niche. And so he does fantastic. And so I learned from him. I was like, man, I'm so tired of putting all this time and energy into these videos. And then, you know, I'm getting murdered by the Bentist who I worked with. Like he has a system that's beautiful. He just reacts to content and he gives his insight, which is super valuable because he spent 10 years of his life learning that. And then like, he just gets to chill. And I was like, how can I get to chill? And so that's the growth. That's the great. If I was to restart, I would do the exact same thing, but with a different mindset. I would know my pros and cons. And I would start small and I would learn as much as I can. Why didn't this work? Why didn't this work? Why didn't this work? Why did this work? Why did this work? Why did this work? And I would do that for a long time, at least 6 months, which is a long time in content.
Yeah.
So you have a space to fail in. It's so vital is you create a space to fail in for yourself to be able to learn.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I think, and that's one thing. I know I've said it before, but I don't think enough people take it to heart. The ability to be a small streamer and to fail again and again and again, and to change again and again and again, and to put fuel into what works and cut off the things that don't. That is a flexibility that once you reach a certain level of being known, fame, I guess, you cannot do anymore, right?
Facts.
Once you are the person who does X, that's it. Like that is, it is so hard to move yourself out of that niche. The more people know you as the person who does X, the harder it is to change what that thing is.
Yeah.
So
I still have people like, hey, like stream Fall Guys. And I'm like, I'll stream Fall Guys. I haven't done that for a year and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's been a year and a half.
Yep. I used to play this free game called Dauntless. It's where I had
that game's electric.
Yeah, it's where I had
So
experienced, you know, sort of my biggest moments of organic growth on Twitch. To this day, there are still people who come by in my stream. I haven't streamed that game in like 2.5 years. My content has not been about this for 2.5 years. People still come by and they say, hey, you still playing this game at all? Like, you still streaming this game? Like, what gives? When are you going to stream this game again? Two
Yeah,
and a
what
half
the
years
frickin' heck,
later,
man.
like,
Because you're the guy that streams that game for them. Like you have
Yep.
to remember that in it's a single human, and you serve a purpose and a
Mm-hmm.
role in their lives. Every single person has a very, very, very interesting life that does not revolve around us.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you fill a very small void.
Yep.
Like PewDiePie for me at 12, he filled a big void.
Mm-hmm.
So like PewDiePie changed up his content. Hi PewDiePie. He's now going back to Happy Wheels. But like me streaming Fall Guys, like it's like people are like, yeah, like I mean Fall Guys was fun in the summer, but it's not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that's how I was able to like pivot, and it was okay. But like whenever you are like, if you have a community where it's like you like have been for 7 months every single day, you got daily people pulling up to the function,
Mm-hmm.
watching you do what you do, like, man, they're gonna be so upset when you stop.
Yep, it's true.
Yeah.
And so the
You gotta have
question,
care for 'em.
the question from the Awesome Fletch, and I think this kind of touches on this: should my short form
Mm.
content be clips of my stream, or should it be original content that reflects my stream vibe? I think unhelpfully, I think really unhelpfully, the short answer is it depends. Right?
I feel like I can answer this one if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so like I would say from my experience, the reason why I want to answer this one is because you're right, but I want to give it like a lot more concrete example that I could take from my own content.
Do it.
Whenever I was a Warzone streamer, I had one video that really blew up, and it gained 200,000 followers on TikTok for me and like 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. It had nothing to do with Warzone. It literally was a clip of me getting told by one of my viewers that he got in trouble for watching my streaming class. And then he was like, my teacher's coming to watch your stream to like see what this is about. And so he told me that. And then basically what happened is for shock value, I was like, oh, it's so nice for you guys to be here. I was being super nice. And I was like, man, but I do hope that you guys like aren't using this as an opportunity to like shame and bully Rice, because that'd be really fucked up of an adult to do, huh? And I was like, oh, man, we didn't see that coming, did we? From the stupid streamer guy. Oh, and I upload that, and like your reaction was like everyone's reaction was like, oh yeah, like it's crazy. And so that had nothing to do with Warzone.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was also uploading Warzone content that would sometimes bang. And so like I was in this in between where it's like that's the vibe of my stream. But like if you come to my stream expecting me to be doing just chatting and like that the whole time, and you pull up and I'm popping pieces in Warzone, it's confusing, right? And so what I would do if I was you, and I was trying to figure out short form content, okay, I would curate streams. Going back to, I had the greatest opportunity that I think that probably has ever happened to anyone in content, and that's why I'm trying to make a documentary out of it at a professional level. Ludwig DM'd me and taught me how to make content. Literally, like he taught me how to make content. And so literally all you need to do is every week, however often you stream, like let's say that you stream 6 hours, 3 days a week. I personally, whenever I was streaming, would stream 5 days a week for 2 hours. Why? Great question. I would on Sunday plan out your week. These are the videos that I'm going to make on stream, and this is how I'm going to execute them. This is what the stakes are going to be. This is what the concept is. And then if you get clips on top of that you can use, that's great. But you know for a fact you are going to execute this idea on your stream. So the reason why I gave you the example of maybe streaming for 6 hours, I would stream for 2 because that's how long it took me to get that content. And then that was it. But if you stream for 6 hours, the reason for me giving this is the first 2 hours of your stream, get your content, baby. Make sure that your X's or your T's and I's are crossed and dotted. And then if you still really want that deep connection with your community who has known you to be a streamer that doesn't do this, keep that time. Keep the next 4 hours as time to connect with your community. And then I would say personally, like start to slow it down and like have less of that community time and make yourself less available, because we need to dress for the job that we want. Do we want to have 30,000 viewers? We need to act like we have 30,000 viewers, which means you need to be able to entertain people without talking directly to them. So you can't talk to the chat. You can't rely on the chat. You could pick and choose things from the chat, which hopefully you guys have noticed. Like whenever I see something I can use, I'm like, oh, mine. And then if I don't, I'm sitting here and I'm yapping, I'm talking. And like that's a level. Like I said, there's levels to this stuff. If you want to be big, you got to act like you're big now. You have to set the tone now that you're a big streamer. But out of respect for the people who have watched you as a small streamer, slowly get them used to it. Tell them, I told them whenever I was making this, I was like, hey guys, this is what's going to happen. This is how I'm gonna start going, because you guys believe in me and you love me and you tell me that you want me to be a big streamer. So I'm going to take the steps necessary to do that. And then I started doing that. And then I think 4 months later, I have 25,000 people watching me on TikTok and like 4,000 on YouTube. And it was like, because I took those steps, I got out of the box that I had put myself in, which was me feeling like I had to talk to everyone in the chat. Not in like a negative way, but like I would feel guilty genuinely if I wasn't caring for each individual person who was there. But you can still care for them in a different light by providing the entertainment that they're looking for. People want to be entertained. And if you're relying on deep personal connections with people to entertain them, there's a peak that you can get to as a human. And then outside of streaming, bro, like you're really, really going to set yourself up for some weird situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, very true. And I think
Yes.
you know, here's maybe a slightly different structure to the same idea is
May I run to
instead
the
of
bathroom,
yeah, go for
please?
it. Go for
Thank
it. So instead of my advice is, instead of streaming for 6 hours and building that content in the first 3 of those 6 hours, I would say stream less. That would be my advice. Would be to stream less. Instead, dedicate 3 hours to recording footage of the content that you want to make, right? Dedicate 3 hours of your week to just harvesting content off stream, right? If, you know, we're talking about Warzone as an example, if you want to go queue up Warzone, queue up a bunch of matches, try and hit those clips, try and hit those moments that you want your content to be, right? Do all of that off stream. And to Halite's point, utilize stream as that moment to build that deeper connection, right? To be able to now that people know your content, the content that you have accumulated off stream, you can use that to drive people to want to form that closer connection as a creator, right? So, and I know we've talked about this before, the idea of live streaming is an end goal. Live streaming is an end point for you to reach, right? Live streaming is that, hey, we made it, let's all celebrate in person together, right? Like that's and that's what it comes down to. Like, and Niam, I see your question. What if all of your content is made off the live stream? That's cool. You can do that. There is nothing saying that you can't make static content out of your live stream content. Take a look at Moist Critical, right? He records videos off stream. He also cuts together interesting moments of his streams for long form content, right? Both are possible. But you should always be trying to approach everything that you're doing in terms of content creation to understand what this is going to be used for and what you can do with what you have, right? So whether it's the advice that I was giving while you're in the bathroom was instead of streaming for those 6 hours, record for 3 hours and stream for 3 hours, and take that recorded content, make your content with that on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, etc., and then utilize your live stream solely as that, hey, we get to interact with each other kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that what we just did, chat, was give 2 different ways to the same thing. And what you guys should do is like, and this is critical to content, is to listen to both of our advices, right? And then go like, which one fits for me? So like me, for example, the one that I just gave, like if you have 2 hours, like let's say that you're a dad, you have kids, you have 2 hours to pursue your dream every day. Okay. What I just said, go through and make ideas for each stream. And like, that's what you're going to do on stream. And then in your 2 hours, not only did you stream, you got a recording. Cool.
Yep.
You could also use the other method, which is like, you know what I mean? It just depends on how much time that you have. Like it's really like, and it needs to be molded to you. Like I could sit here, I could tell you exactly how to become Halite, and that's great. If you want to be Halite, like that's, I mean, I don't know why you would, but like, you know what I mean? Like I can tell you exactly how I got here, but what's important is that, and this, I think that this is a good transition into like a deeper point of like getting started, and then you can utilize it as you grow, is how to keep your sense of identity while still allowing influences on your content to shine through and getting inspiration through them. So like, for example, let me break down like my IRL content. If you watch it from afar, it looks very similar to Ryan Trahan. I really like Ryan Trahan. How am I different than Ryan? I'm different than Ryan because I really love horror and I really love comedy. And like, he's like very goofy, quirky. He has a set character and he like really runs into that. I, on the other hand, am like a little bit more dark and I like make sex jokes in my videos. And if you watch it, the structure and format is similar because it's a format that works. But if you watch to the end, we have very different endings. Most of the time, mine is a misdirection or it's like a joke that I'm setting up the whole time. And it's like, and so what I'm getting at is like, you can keep your sense of self and your sense of personality while still utilizing frameworks that we know work. Like, and the reason why this is okay is like literally the beat sheet template that I use, like Hollywood's been using this. Like in my opinion, there's only one way to tell a story. It's the same story, a good story that it like it's the same thing. I can literally run you through the beat sheet. You got your setup, the first 10% of the movie, and then for the next 10% of the movie, you have a debate period. Should I do the thing? Should I not do the thing? For the next 30% of the movie, you have the fun and games portion. So like think about an Adam Sandler movie. This is Waterboy. Whenever he's making all the tackles, they're winning all the games. This is great. And then you have a midpoint. That's just halfway through the movie, the midpoint. You elevate the stakes. So like now, like the Waterboy situation, how do you elevate the stakes in that movie? Well, the Mud Dogs are going to the Bourbon Bowl. Oh, wow. Now they have something to lose. Before they didn't have anything to lose. Now there's something at stake. And then what starts happening? The bad guys start closing in, right? Bad things start to happen. Oh, well, Bobby didn't really go. Bobby never went to high school. And now we know that Bobby didn't go to high school. And that's a problem. Why? Because Red Calhoun comes up and is like, actually, Mr. Bobby Boucher can't play in the Bourbon Bowl. And that is the pit of despair, right? That's that point where like bad things, like the worst thing that possibly could happen is they just lost their star player and now they have no hope. And so then the next like 3% of the movie or 5% of the movie is how does everyone react? We see how Bobby reacts. We see how the team reacts. We see, and then Bobby feels shunned, all that stuff. And then what happens? The last 20% of the movie, there is like this reset of the story. Like now what are they going to do? Bobby's going to go pass the test. Great. Okay. So this is the start of Act 3 that he's going to go pass the test. You're 80% of the way through the movie. You can record this, what I'm saying right now, and go watch the movie. And I guarantee you it backs up. And then you can take this exact same format and go to Interstellar. It backs up. And so Bobby's going to pass the test. Spoilers. If you haven't seen Waterboy, it's in the 80s. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think we're past the statute of limitation for spoilers on the Waterboy at this point.
And so, like, he's going to pass a test, and then he makes it to the Bourbon Bowl, and this is really important for Act 3. There's a false defeat or a false victory. What's the fault? In this situation, it's a false victory. Bobby makes it to the Bourbon Bowl, and he's like, whenever he comes to the locker room, he's like, y'all remember when Bobby Boucher showed up at halftime and the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl? And then everyone's like, yeah, we're going to win. And then they lose. But then the ending is that actually Bobby wound up finishing college and pursuing what he wanted to pursue, which is a happy family. And so that false defeat doesn't hurt as bad because we've all learned something. Bobby has learned to be independent of his mother, and the team has learned that they can do things on their own and that they're actually talented, and they just needed someone who wasn't smart enough to realize that he wasn't talented to come in and be like, hey, we all actually are talented. And it was Bobby's ignorance that actually unlocked everyone else's ability to be great. And like, that's the story. And now take every other story of all time and it's the same format. And so like, whenever you see creators who are doing great things, like, don't look at like, I'm going to copy them word for word, bar for bar. Like, go like, okay, what format are they using? Establish yourself within that format and then personalize it to yourself. And it's really, really critical. So if I was to start making content right now, that's how I do it.
Because what you're talking about, right? What you're talking about is the vernacular of storytelling, right?
Yes.
Like the actual words that are being used are going to be different depending on what the story is and who the characters are and how long
if you have blue eyes or not.
Exactly, right? So it's going to be different, depending on those other variables, right? But the vernacular of storytelling is the same, right? It has been the same since the Greeks, basically.
Yes, literally,
like, this is how
Plato
human beings are used to stories being told. So by, to emphasize your point, by distilling out what it is that makes a story, you can utilize that format and elevate your content. And that's absolutely huge. And
Can I talk about it in a gaming sense really
yeah,
quickly?
yeah, please.
Please finish your point, but I just want to set that up before we
Yeah.
move on.
Well,
from this.
it goes to the point of being thoughtful with your content, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
this is what I think to answer the question from earlier about like should my short form content just be clips or should it be
Yes.
original content, right? It needs to be thoughtful.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where you are drawing the raw content from, it has to be a thoughtful piece of content, right? Like I understand the ways in which people can just take a funny moment and like slap it onto
Mm-hmm.
TikTok and be like, haha, like we can all have a quick laugh. That's all well and good, and that one clip can go viral, right? That one
Mm-hmm.
clip can go viral. But and this goes to that question of sustainability as well. If it's not
Mm-hmm.
a thoughtful piece of content, if it's just this was a 1 in a million moment, you're not going to be able to do that again. It was a 1 in a million moment. Like, you cannot repeat that. So by creating content that is thoughtful, that you are really, really putting effort into
Mm-hmm.
how I am presenting it, how I am telling this story, that makes for repeatable content. That makes for content that you can churn out again and again and again and again and build
Yes.
sustainable growth, not explosive growth.
Yes. That clip should be a part of that
Mm-hmm.
video. So, all right, I need everyone to get out a notebook because we're about to I feel like it's like a little bit boring and it's like, oh man, they're so in the weeds now and it's not that like, hey guys, like you can do it too, like phase up, you know what I mean? Like we're like at the point. So this is like tangible takeaway. This is how you can utilize this in your content because we're like, Hunter, bro, I stream video games. I can't tell a story. Let's talk about that clip that was just mentioned. A funny clip's going to go viral. Well, why is it going to go viral? It's the same reason why stories are told the way that they are. It's conflict. Okay? So why are things funny? Like whenever we see things as funny, like why do we see them as funny? I'm gonna take a knee here.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I'm feeling animated. Why do we see things as funny? It's always conflict. So like let's take like a Valorant clip for example. Okay? Let's say that literally the worst person on your team hits a 5-piece ace, wins the game. Is five in Valorant?
Yeah.
Is it 5? Yeah.
Yep,
So
that's
it hits a 5-piece ace, wins you guys the game last round. That video is going to go viral. Why? Because the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
The worst player is the last dude alive.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow he clutches up.
Yep.
And it's like, that's conflict. That's the story. Like, we've all been in that situation where, like, the worst dude is alive. It's like, oh my gosh, bro, like, we're screwed. And then they clutch up, and it's like, oh, like, they get the first one, and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, they hit their shots. And then the second one is like, oh my gosh. Like, they're, like, and then now you're locked back in because, like, wait, you can do this. Like, oh my, wait, we can win. And then they pop the third, and it's like, oh. And then you're like, shh, everyone shut up. Shut up. Because what's happening? It's the midpoint over and over. The stakes keep going up because it's like, we can do this every time. And so like, that's what storytelling is you're trying to create that foundation that people can buy into, right? So in gaming content, if it's funny, like, why is it funny? Most of the time it's going to be relatable, but, and this is advice that I'm not giving. This is advice from Shakespeare, who I think we can all agree is pretty good at writing.
He's pretty good at telling a story. Yeah.
Pretty good. So you don't want to make ordinary content. Like, what's more relatable than getting shit on? Nothing. Everyone loses all the time. Like, yep, here's my Valorant upload. I got pissed on. Bad game. Hey, I'm humble though, right? Like, guys, I'm willing to be vulnerable with you, but no one wants to watch that. Why? Because they get pissed on. No one wants to watch someone else get, but like, they experience that, right? And so that's ordinary. Now, at the same time, no one really wants to watch something that's super unrelatable. So like, imagine the kid that grew up, like, let's say that you went to an academy at 8 years old and your whole life, all that you've done is aim, train, and practice Val. That's it. Like, you're not very relatable. You're kind of a god. And so people will like watch you for your gameplay, but you're in the league. You're not making content. Like, no one really wants to watch your content because it's so unrelatable. So that's like extremely high level content, like outside of the world. But put the two together, and like, this is such an interesting way to frame this. And like, I had never thought about it. We want to make extraordinary content. It's ordinary content, but it's extra. So extraordinary. It's extraordinary content. I mean, literally apply this to gaming. Okay? You get shit on. Let's take that concept. You're getting shit on. But maybe you're getting shit on by the best players in the world. And then you pop a 3-piece. Okay, that's interesting because, like, it's not very often that you'll play against, like, the best players. How do I get put in this lobby? Now, maybe you're a bronze. It's like, how do I get put in this lobby? Like, I just went on a quick play, and I'm warming up against 10s. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't want to be here. And so, like, now people want to see what happened. Because why? Because it's a situation they could find themselves in. And it's interesting because it's extraordinary. It's extra. Like, it's an elevated position that they've never experienced, but they could experience it. And so, like, that's how you could take the storytelling aspect of content creation and apply it to video games, is just think to yourself, whenever something happens to you, has this probably happened to someone else? No? Okay, great. That's a great clip to upload. And, like, what I'm trying to describe here is, like, if you are going to be a clip person, because, like, we can sit here and be like, curate content all day, curate content. And, like, it's not going to happen because there's friction there. And I understand that. You're like, I make video gaming content. It's not the same. It is. But if you want to be the clip person, you can get better at that by recognizing clip opportunities, by using the breakdown that I just gave you. Is it extraordinary? No one wants to see someone drop a 60 bomb. All they do is play the game. Like maybe people will watch that, but for the most part, they're going to click. Like, if we go to a Warzone example now, they're going to click on that and watch you get your load out and be like, maybe learn from your gameplay. But that's niching down your market to people who, like, really want to learn. And that's it. Versus if you're a good personality, you're not great at the game, but you're not bad at the game, and you run into a situation where, like, you have a 4v1 clutch, and then you get all the way to the end, and then your friend is like, you're a pussy. As you go to shoot the last shot, and you lose because your friend was like, you're a pussy. Like, now you have something because there's conflict there. Like, we've all been in that situation where, like, your friend messes you up and stuff. And so, like, that's an elevated, ordinary situation. And it's like that misdirection of, like, yo, they're going to clutch up, they're going to clutch up, they're going to clutch up. And then it's like, you never see the friend yapping at you coming. And then it's like, now we can all relate to that. Because it's like, yo, you had an opportunity to do something really cool, pop a 4-piece, win the game. And instead, we get, like, made fun of by our friends or our teammates, and we lose. And, like, now it's relatable, and that really cool situation coming together and making something extraordinary. So utilize that for your gaming content. If you're not going to curate it, at least be able to identify opportunities that can go viral instead of just uploading stuff that no one's going to watch. And I didn't come up with this. This is Shakespeare.
Yep.
Don't listen to me. I'm just listening to it. So.
Our good friend Bill. No, but to your point, exactly, right? Like, it's how do you elevate a normal gaming moment, right?
Yes.
It's that added context is so important, right? I'm thinking back to my own content now, right? One of the viral clips that I had playing Valorant go absolutely insane was I was being joined for the very, very first time by a handful of people who don't play shooters. Like, they're MMO streamers. Yeah. Like, they're MMO gamers. They don't play shooters. We were doing something for charity, and they were like, okay, you know what? If we raise, like, another $300 in the next hour, I will join you I will literally download Valorant and play it with you on stream for my very first time playing any shooter, and you pick one of the hardest shooters to get into, right?
Fantastic.
That's great. So we have that setup, right? It's all about providing context to these moments, right? So we have that setup. The next point of conflict, the enemy team, because we're 5-stacked, also 5-stacked against us, starts just talking smack in chat. Just like, wow, you guys suck. Wow, this is so easy. Wow, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So,
and now there's that injustice too, which makes the viewers buy into your team, because they're like, well, that's not really fair. It's their first game. Like, screw the other team.
Yep.
And, like, now they're rooting for you guys, which is fantastic.
Yep. And so then I get to say, okay, you know what? I was teaching you how to play Valorant. Lessons are on hold. I got to go make a point now. And what follows is the frag montage. It's kill after kill. 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. Goes down to overtime. High pressure situation, you know, it's me, a person that is pretty good at the game, and 3 people who've never played this game in their life against 5 people who, you know, kind of know what they're doing enough to be talking a bunch of nonsense in the chat.
Yeah.
This is storytelling. This is how to set up your gaming content in a way. I could have just I could have just uploaded the ace from that
Yes.
video,
Yes.
from that
Yes.
that match, and just been like, I got an ace, cool, dope.
Yeah.
Follow me, right?
Mhm.
Or I can give context. I can give context that elevates the stakes, that tells a story that has a beginning, middle, and end. It has the 3 acts, right? That's exactly what
Yes.
we're talking about. It's a 3-act story told in 60 seconds.
Yeah, and there's that turning point where you're like, nah, like I'm gonna turn up, and like that's that like that hero moment. And like I just want to point out, we didn't talk about this before. We
Yep.
had no, I did it. I wasn't like, yo, I'm gonna bring up this example about Valorant where you clutch. We had literally like that's what I'm pointing out is that as experienced content creators, you can take these situations and use the fundamentals that you learn throughout your time making content and go, okay, this is a great opportunity to create these different points. We can hit these beats, and then you leave that in your editing, because like that might be another thing that you might be struggling with right now as well. I have 2 hours of VOD. How do I even start making videos? It's via this process of recognizing there's something here, there's conflict. How can I elevate it and tell a story around it? Like, and that's why people will be like, I like struggle because I don't have a face cam. I struggle because I don't have a mic. That's an opportunity to me. Like, okay, you don't have a mic, you don't have a face cam. Great. You're a small streamer. And then let's say that someone comes into your chat and is like, yo, dude doesn't even have a mic or a webcam. And like why are you even doing this? And then now you have conflict. It's relatable and it's extraordinary because the extra part is someone coming in and chopping on you for following your dreams. And now it's like, okay, whether I'm a small streamer or not without a webcam or a good mic, what am I? Human. And I've been in situations where I was pursuing something, but maybe didn't even know that I needed particular things to be good at it because I didn't know the fundamentals. I didn't have that, I call it like country club etiquette. Like I didn't have the etiquette. Like I get super uncomfortable whenever I go into country clubs because it might just be me, but it's like any situation, like I'm literally like am I like, I literally will do nothing. I will just stand there and be like wait for direction because I don't want to be out of place. And so we've all been in those situations where like we didn't really know. And so now there's that sense of injustice. Like, nah, that's messed up. And then now people are rooting for you. And that's how you see a lot of that content back in the day where people are like, look at my boyfriend. He does this every day, 8 hours a day, got no viewers. I love him so much. And then it's like, oh, look at his supportive girlfriend holding it down. Like, this is incredible. I'm going to go give him a sub. And people build careers off of this, which is awesome because they made extraordinary content and they deserve it because they saw a situation that was ordinary that a lot of people have. And then how do you get the extra? You have an extremely supportive partner who is like, man, I really want to see my man make it. And then it worked. And it's like you look for those opportunities all the time.
Definitely.
And so I think that that's so cool that we got to touch on this and apply the ins and outs of like breaking down the why. We started off on like why, and now I feel like if you've made it this far along, like maybe you're watching it back after we've recorded this. If you've made it this far, you know that we're not just yapping. We're not just up here yapping. It's not luck. It's finding these fundamentals, and then the skill in it is recognizing it whenever it happens, and that comes through experience. It's lucky to have those things happen that can go viral if you don't curate content, which you definitely should. But if you just be streaming and you want to grow, learn how to find things that are clip worthy, viral worthy, and that people can relate to you on in an extraordinary manner, and it will change your life.
Yeah. Let's talk about that next element of sustainability, right? So you've established, you've got yourself your niche, you're growing, you maybe hit your first plateau, right? Let's say, because this is the nature of the internet, this is the nature of social media. Let's say there's an algorithm shift, right? Let's talk about TikTok. The TikTok shop meta was a huge thing. You know, now there's talks about going to 10-minute horizontal video. How do you stay on top of that? How do you work to make sure that you are constantly paying attention, constantly seeing what's working, seeing what's not working, even on your own feed, and adapting and staying ahead of that curve?
I think that it's very, very simple from where I'm sitting, but I think it can be very complex from the outside looking in. And that's not that I'm some like special content guru. It's like this goes back to like one of my first points, that is, you need to remember that this is a business. Now, you might have intrinsic ideas that it's so much more than that, and you really care. And I tell you right now, the corporations only care about the ROI, the profit. That's they're focused on making money. So if you want to focus on getting to keep doing this, which we established at the beginning, if we were billionaires, we would keep doing this.
Yep.
Now, you want to keep doing it, is probably your best practice to align with the business practices of the platforms that you're on, and then do whatever they're doing. So if they're like, hey, gang, we're going to push out a product that's 10-minute long videos. Hey, man, you should probably keep doing what you're doing. You should probably keep making the videos that you're making, but make them 10 minutes long and upload them. Because why? Because these are companies, and what do companies need to make decisions? They need data, right? Does that make sense to everyone in the chat? They need data. So what are they going to do? They're going to push out these videos. So you could be like, but hey, like this whole time, you guys have been talking about how it's so important to have a sense of identity and a brand and to like stay true to yourself and not cash grab and like do all these things. Right. That's why I said keep making the content that you're making, and look at it as an opportunity to ensure that you're going to get a bunch of eyes on it. So you can do what? You can go, why did this not have good analytics? Why did this maybe blow up? Why? I will say it a bazillion times. Why? And this is like the perfect opportunity to know that you're going to get views. You know this is going to get views.
Yep.
So you can test out your format. That's awesome. You'll get feedback. The comments will cook you or they'll love it. And so like the Grimace Shake trend was an example that like I had a lot of fun with. Like I knew it was going to get me views. I knew it was going to get me views, but I wanted to test out what it would be like if I had like a 30-second long scene that was just like me kind of acting. And I did that. And, you know, my graph like reflected what I thought was going to happen, but it still hit. It still got views because it was still like, we knew it was going to do well. And so what I would call these are opportunities to test in a safety net. Like the same way that if you're starting out streaming, you should operate in a smaller niche than the niche that you maybe like really want to pursue, because everyone wants to pursue the niche that you probably want to pursue. Like keep that in mind. You can differentiate yourself by getting good in an area where there's opportunity and then coming back into the area that you really want to be in. Same thing applies to this situation. You're creating that safety net where if they're saying, hey, we're going to start pushing 10-minute videos, and you're like a really good short form content creator, it seems like a good opportunity to see if your short form content will be able to still work in a 10-minute format. Like potentially you should take that short form video and then expand it 10 times, but use the same format. Yep. Use the 10%, 20, use the format, and then just see if it still works in a 10-minute. It's the same. It's all the same. Yeah. It's just a different medium. So use it. If you're really trying to grow, you're trying to make this a career, do what the corporations want you to do, which is like, don't take this out of context. Don't take it out of context. They're like, hey, Light said that I should do. No. The corporations want data. So you can either not be a part of that free growth, or you could be, it's free. They're going to give you views. Yep. And if they don't give you views, it should be like literally like alarms, like your whole room should be red and blue. If you're not getting views, doing the thing that the companies really want, your videos are not good. Okay, so like it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity.
I know so many people who experienced after TikTok, and it comes in waves, right? These things come in waves. TikTok came in and just dropped a giant rock in the content creation pond and was like, here you go. This is the future of content now. Enjoy. Yeah. And all of a sudden, YouTube and Instagram are looking at this, seeing their numbers going down and saying, oh God, we got to get on this. We have to get on this. And so in order for them to get on that, they both roll out around the same time their short form video offerings. And YouTube, it's well documented. YouTube went to all of their big name creators, All of the partnerships people went to all of their big creators and were like, hey, we need you to make this content. We're pushing this platform. We need you to make short form content. So every single, like, people who had been putting out, hour-long video essays, like videos that take months to complete, that take, a ton of money and time and resources to complete, all of a sudden are now scrambling to figure out how they can chop up that content for short form, or how they can figure out how to make repeatable, quick content that they can just make daily for a short form video, because the platforms are telling them, hey, you got to do this. And to your point exactly, they need the data, and they need hundreds of thousands, millions of points of data in order to be like, okay, is this something we're going to continue, or is it something that we're going to cut our losses and say, you know what, this is not for us. We're not doing this. But they will accelerate your content because they need that data. They need those data points to be able to say, yes, this is worth funding. That's not worth funding anymore. We're fundamentally shifting our algorithm in this direction. Here we go. Talk about YouTube, right? We've seen the YouTube algorithm change so many times, right? Before, 10 minutes. 10 minutes was your sweet spot for a video. 10 minutes uploaded daily. That was YouTube for a really, really long time. Now, hour and a half, once a week, once a month, but it doesn't matter as long as it's long and retains viewership, right? We've seen the algorithms change, and to your point, that is, I understand what it's like when the algorithm shifts and you feel like you're behind and you just roll your eyes and you're like, oh God, now I got to go do this thing again. I got to go do that now. Oh, TikTok, now I got to make horizontal video for TikTok. Like, come on. It's opportunity. And the people who are going to seize those opportunities are the ones who are going to experience the growth from it. The people who seize those opportunities are the ones who are going to be able to ride that wave and get those eyes, because the algorithm favors those videos. Like, you need to be adaptable. You need to, and your content, I understand, is your baby. It's precious. It's, something that you're nurturing, but you also have to be able to adapt it quickly and adapt it without feeling like you're sacrificing something. Like, oh, like, I'm, so good at 60-second videos, but now I got to go to 10 minutes. Like, figure it out. You have to figure it out.
Yeah, because if you don't, you're making a career for me. Because I will.
Yep.
Like, that's what it is at the end of the day. The only reason why I'm sitting right here is because the old heads that came before me were like, meh, short form content, meh, I hate that. And so I guarantee you that all the people who are mad established are not sitting here watching the stream. Maybe there's like one, maybe there's like two. And then the recording, maybe there's like one, maybe there's like two. But everyone that's listening right now is here because you want to grow. And so, listen, you need that sense of identity to hold on to yourself, because you're gonna until you find what is your thing. And so I think that's so important to understand, is that, like, it's opportunity. It's so great, and if you don't embrace it, you're gonna get left behind. Like, for a fun little task for you guys to take away, you could do it right now on your computers. Just look up how many companies have fallen off the NASDAQ. Look that up. Just see how many companies have been gargantuan and then fallen off because someone came in and innovated and they wouldn't change their ways. This is a business. Content, it's all the same, baby. How good or bad you are at it will define how high or low you go. But more than that, it's like how willing you are to adapt and continuously improve. And that's why you see Apple still huge, because they're continuously improving their products. And that's why you see, and I'm not trying to go at like very specific companies, but like you can look up companies that no longer exist that were also really big tech companies that stopped improving, and it allowed opportunities for people like Apple. So be Apple, and that's from a technology standpoint, like an improvement standpoint. Like, look at it as an opportunity. The changing times, how quickly things change, like, that's awesome for you getting into this. It's so awesome. And then I think it'd be fun for us to do like a little task where we could like basically, like, I can kind of show the chat how it's so like not arbitrary, but like how it's like kind of easy to make a video like off the top. Like we can make fake scenarios and like we can make a video together like right now in terms of like a script. No one can upload this. If you upload it, I will know. Okay. It's not your content, it's our content. You know what I mean? Play the Soviet music. But like this is a strategy I really wanted to share with everyone today because it helped me a lot, and I didn't come up with it. It was shared to me for free from the creators of South Park, and it's writing in butts and so's. So I think that we could come up with a story. So let's go back to your if you're okay with this.
Yeah.
I don't want to go completely.
No, go for it.
Can we go back to your story with that already went viral, and I will turn it into a video, or we could make up one off the top. Actually, would you prefer that, or for us to go from the chat? Because we could go off the chat too.
Yeah,
Like,
let's see. Let's give chat. I want to give chat a
Beautiful.
second to throw out some ideas, but I want you to define what you just said, butts and so's.
Sure.
Define that first. Like what is the wisdom to glean from there? Chat, throw out your ideas for some videos here.
I think that it would be better to experience it before we are like, oh, that's not gonna work for me, because I feel like if I define it, people are gonna be like, meh, like, and immediately like be like, no, that can't work for me. Not that the people in the chat are super negative, but it's like I have been in that shoe or been in those shoes where it's like, but that doesn't work for me because I do X, Y, and Z, and so I like want to have this like chance to like show that it's like really pretty fluid to make content. And we could come up with it off the top. Like we could just have like literally any topic.
So why don't we pick something that I think what I see a lot of right now, and it might just be the content that I consume, but what I see a lot of right now is, you know, the idea of being a comfort streamer, the idea of being a cozy streamer, cozy gamer type thing. So if we were predominantly in that kind of niche, in that market, right? So I am a comfort streamer, I'm a cozy streamer.
Okay.
I'm not the most hype, you know, kind of screaming, jumping out of my chair, pop off moments. Like, you know, that's not really what the channel is. How are we making compelling content around that?
Beautiful. So we established earlier that what makes a good story is conflict. So the first step to any good story on algorithm-based content is to give people a reason to care. Why would anyone care about this? Get this ingrained in your head that you are not PewDiePie, you are not Ludwig, you are none of these people that have gargantuan platforms. Like they have earned those, they've done their things. And I mentioned PewDiePie and Ludwig because they are like people who those were my influences watching. So, okay, why would people care? So let's establish that. Okay, and then we need to come up with a conflict. And so the first thing that we would need to do is like kind of like get an insight into like what it's like to be a cozy streamer. So now we need a hook. So our hook needs to be something that like it incites like curiosity out of a viewer. So what you want to do with your hook is you want to like basically buy 5 seconds. And so let's say that we're going to make let's keep it small and let's make a 15-second video. Because I'm not super familiar with cozy streamers.
Sure.
I've like literally never watched it, but up here I can picture it.
Yeah.
So what I would start off with is I would use a bunch of comments. And it would go pop, 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 and it would be like, why does cozy streaming exist? This is so stupid. And it would literally be like chaotic, like pop, 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 pop. And then it would cut to me in my room, like chilling, like being cozy and like chilling. And then it would cut to XQC screaming and like over the top, like go like really trying to like go at it. And then it would cut back to me chilling again. And we're just creating this like sense of contrast between the same reason why people watch this, because they want high energy and they want that like sense of electricity from a streamer like XQC. You come down to like in terms of like your energy levels, you go to a cozy streamer and you're chilling. And so like you're answering the questions, showing the conflict, which is like really high energy, like and then you're contrasting it by like bringing it down. And so instead of being like, you're stupid, you should just accept what I like to do, you're showing them. And that's critical to writing and it's critical to content creation all around is it's showing instead of telling. You can tell people for days that what you do is cool, but if you show them, it means so much more. So that's how I would set this up. I would literally have all those comments like retention hack at the beginning, and you're setting up the stage of like, how is this even a career? How do people do this? Why would anyone watch this? And then you show them that like, you could watch this, yes, and these people have a lot of viewers. Yeah. And I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum, and you use those clips. And then at the end, this is how I would end it, is I would be sitting there chilling, reading a book. I'd be just like this. I'd be a book, and I would look up at them, and then the text would pop across, and it would go, why would you not? And it's like very simple, like, because this shit is dope, and like we're chilling. And like that, and then like now, like it's understood, you know what I mean? And like I feel like really what you got to do is like create a reason for people to watch, create a conflict, and then like really contrast that conflict and like stretch it to its fullest, and then now you have a video. Yeah. Hey, if you're a cozy streamer, you could use that one because I didn't write the script off the top.
No, but I think that's exactly the point, right? Is one, show don't tell. Fundamental moment, important thing to draw from all narrative, right? All storytelling, all film, right? Is show don't tell. They always say that because you can have somebody. God, it's the worst to have some the villain sitting there being like, oh, I'm the villain, and these are all of the reasons why I'm doing the villainous things, and this is why you should dislike me, and it falls flat, right? Just Madam Web, you can go look it up, right? But the fact of the matter is that like you're proving, and I love the idea of showing the contrast, right? Like I think the big thing for cozy streamers is it appeals to adults with jobs, right? It appeals in a huge way to adults with jobs because you're this I think this is the way that I would do it. I love the idea of like, boom, this is boring, boom, I couldn't watch this, boom, they're just sitting there playing games, like what's the point? And show a hectic workplace. Show somebody answering emails all day. Their boss is pissed at them. They've got deadlines. They've got bills to pay. They've got this, that, and the other. And you're contrasting that with, this is where you go to relax. This is where you go to kick your feet up and just hang out and let all of that stuff from the day go. This is your meditation. This is your quiet space. This is your space to allow your mind to disconnect and shut off and calm.
Yeah, I think that opens up a lot of doors for opportunities too. Like I watched, for example, before this, I watched a video where a girl was describing basically if you like the problems that you can have throughout sleep and like what your body is telling you and like the signs of it. And so like I think that you can like kind of show those things, like take montages of like same situation where like you have these like all cut up, and it's where a girl is like what I watched describing how difficult it is to like fall asleep and stay asleep and like what all of those things mean, and then like another like complaining about like how difficult it is to de-stress, like what stress does to your body, and you like really build up this high point to back like all the way back down and like build up, and so I think that is really I think that what's most important whenever you're making a video, making content and doing all of this is to identify ways that you can tell the exact same story differently. So like, let me give you an example. I wrote a video the other day. It's about me having, because I have big ears. That's why I have long hair. So because I have big ears. And so again, know your cons. I know I have big ears. So since I know that I have big ears, I'm making a video about it. And so I could say like I got an earache from having big ears, or like from stuff happens that I wind up getting an earache. And so I could say, so I tried to get whatever was in my ear out with Q-tips. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that like I used a Q-tip to get in my ear. I could say that. That's a statement. Or what I did is I said, so I did what my ex taught me and I started digging for problems. And then what happens is it only makes my ear pain worse. So then I said, and just like with our relationship, that made things 100 times worse. And so it's like, You know what I mean? I'm still saying that I dug in my ears and it made my ear hurt bad. And then it's like, how can you say that in a different way? And like, that's creativity, that's content, that's what all of this is about. No one is doing anything unique. No one's doing anything special conceptually until they add their own layer of creativity to the concept. And now they have something special and creative. Like, but at its core, at its root, it's all one story. It's a story, and it's making people relate, and it's showing character development. And like, you might be like, well, Hunter, what about like clips and stuff? If it's like just a cool clip, like, okay, you imagine that you watch a clip from a movie, right? That clip from the movie is a part of the greater story that happened, and it's really cool and interesting, and it might hook you to go watch the movie, but it's still a piece of that greater story. It's still like one part of the grander story. And so like, you can take that and run with it, really. Like, look at a game of Valorant as a story. Like, there's a you know what I mean? And
to draw out that example a little bit more, I think as we're talking about marketing our content on social media, right? Using a movie as an example, right? There's a reason why movie trailers exist. There's a reason why movie trailers, they don't give away the whole plot. They don't tell you everything that's going to happen, but there's a reason why you can more or less take a look at a movie trailer and say, oh, I think I already understand like a third to maybe 40% of what's going to happen in this film. Because
you understand the conflict.
Yep, because they have to set up so much of the rest of the film in order to get you interested, right? So if just sharing a random scene from a movie worked, people wouldn't pay editors to cut together movie trailers, right? They would just pick, oh, this is a funny moment from this movie, and just slap it into there with no context whatsoever, no reason why these characters are talking, no understanding of why anybody should care about any of these people. They just say, hey, this is a funny line. Here you go. You're not going to care about that, right? So it really is. So I think, the point is, you can have that funny moment. You can have that funny clip. Add context to it. There's more that you can add to it. If it's somebody saying something really out of pocket in a game of Valorant, right? Just completely out of nowhere. Add context to it, right? This person has not made a call out the entire game. They have not said a thing. You've asked them to buy, you've asked them to drop you a gun, crickets. You've asked them, hey, can you smoke this? Crickets. You ask them, hey, can you do this? Crickets. Then all of a sudden, boom, the first thing that they say, the first comm that they make is something way out of pocket, and everybody on the team is just like, whoa, now you're talking? Like, that's what you decided to open with? Boom, you have an interesting video. So...
And I could break that down exactly how I turn that into a video right now. Literally, that's your hook, is them talking. You freeze frame, you start the reaction, and then you freeze frame it, and then you pop an arrow up, and you're like, that's my teammate who hasn't spoken for 12 rounds, and you like go through all the rounds, and then you show all of the stuff, like you build up to that moment, and then you show that happening. And so then like now you have the added context of like why, and it's like that is your hook, because it's like, oh, like this is crazy, but and then what does that do? What's the goal of a hook? A hook is to make a viewer ask why and be curious. So if I see that and then I see it well edited, bing, and like an arrow pops up, it's like, this is whatever dude's name is in the game, and then that dude said, like, you know what I mean? Like, you pop it up and then you give the background of like what was happening, normal day, and then like, but he was the worst teammate, wouldn't drop guns, was doing everything wrong. And then you get to the climax, which is actually the beginning. And then like, now what can we do? We can make a loop. Yes. Great. Everyone. Like, these are all opportunities. It's like, we could all take the exact same video and break it up so many different ways. And it's just about like having fun with it. Like, and that's, it's so important that you ask yourself every day, if there's one thing that you take away from this, if I was a billionaire, would I still do this? If the answer is no, you figure out what that thing is, because it might be around content. You might not be the streamer You might be a writer. You might be a videographer. You might be an editor. There's something in this that's calling you, and you need to figure out what it is. Because I know a lot of people who are insanely talented.
Yep.
Like, insanely talented. Like, yeah, I don't really like to be on camera. They still work in the same industry as me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know. I just think that that's so special. And I think that whenever you'll be the most happy in life is whenever you identify what you truly want and you pursue it and not what other people want. And the whole world right now wants everyone to be rich. It wants everyone to be successful. And the whole world does not want anyone to be themselves. Be yourself. What do you want? Not what the video that you just saw on Instagram wants you to do by some 25-year-old trust fund baby that's telling you how they built their business out. Fuck them. What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And then if this is what you want, like, you could do so much cool stuff, and like that's the opportunity that we live in, and it's so cool.
Chef Pete Snaith says there's a lot of chat about gaming. Do you ever discuss cooking streams?
I've done a cooking stream.
Yeah, I've done cooking streams too. What we're distilling for you is narrative structure and how to hack social media for your own benefit, right? That's universal. That is a universal, like, strip away the gaming, strip away the talking about games, take all of that away, figure out how to make, and honestly, I think cooking content, I argue that cooking content on short form video is the progenitor of the looped video meta. Oh, speaking of, we just lost you again. Hold on.
What do we think potentially could be happening?
I think just refresh the page should be fine.
Okay. Bet. Oh yeah, I'm back.
Okay, let me add you
back.
to that. There you are. All right. So we'll roll it back just a split second.
Bet.
The cooking content on TikTok, all right, is the progenitor of the looped video meta. All right? Because again, exactly like Haley was talking about, you start with the finished product. You start with that beautiful golden fried whatever that you're dragging the knife across and you're hearing all the crispity, crunchity sounds. You cut into it, you show the cross section, you take a bite. People see, wow, that looks delicious. How did we get here? And that's when you launch into the recipe, right?
Yeah.
This is where that started from. All right?
Yeah.
Because if people don't see the result of what we're going to end up with, something that looks absolutely delicious, that, oh my God, I want to make that, they're not going to stick around the step one, gather your ingredients. This is what you're going to need to cook. All right? So, again.
They don't know where they're going.
Yep. Peel back the gaming, peel back the gaming elements of it. The narrative structure is still there. Yeah. All of what makes for a compelling video, it's all still there. You just have to apply it to your niche. You have to apply it to your content.
Yeah. P, I don't know when you got here, but if you go back, essentially how we started, and this is like kind of the trajectory that we went off of, was like started at our why, like our big growth picture, and then as time has gone on, we've like gotten more and more in the weeds. And so the reason why I make IRL content, so like storytelling, like so cooking is a part of it sometimes, but I wanted to try to explain the concepts that I've been yapping about in a way that I felt like was more broadly understood. And so that's why we chose gaming, but that's to further prove the point that it was an arbitrary choice.
Yep.
Is that the fundamentals are what's important and what we're trying to get across to help you make better decisions on like how to make your videos. And so in terms of cooking content specifically, how you could elevate your stuff is there's a lot of cooking videos that are done by great chefs. There's a lot of cooking videos with great B-roll. There's a lot. The videos that I see, and I watch a lot of them on YouTube right now, are the videos where the chefs are having fun. They still have the really good B-roll shots. They still have the cool tone with the music. They have all of the things that the other videos have. And this is a great ending point for content in general. All I'm doing, all anyone that's making content is doing, is standing on the shoulders of giants who came before us. So like whether the giant that you're standing on is a content creator that you really admire, or if you're like me, like I really like Christopher Nolan. So for example, with the the loop, the storytelling loop thing, that came from me admiring Christopher Nolan's work on a film called Memento, where he did non-linear storytelling. And so I was like, how can I write a story with the end and the beginning? Because the reason why Memento worked, and this is a small tangent, chat, and I know you're going to be like, Hunter, like, stop yapping. But it's important because this is the takeaway from Christopher Nolan. He's made a lot of great movies. I'm sure you guys like them. I don't know, maybe you don't. But one thing is for sure, makes great films. He said Memento worked because in terms of non-linear, chat, what I mean is that, like, imagine that the story went around in a circle, or like it's like a hairpin. So like it goes around like this, like kind of like an oval, like a U that's turned sideways. And then they would just cross cut between the past and the present, And then the reason why they did that was because the main character had memory loss. And so they told the story in a non-linear fashion because it enabled the viewer to really connect with the main protagonist, which was his key point was, well, we didn't make the film like this to like as a concept that we came up with. And we were like, we're going to make a film off of this. It was like, it felt necessary to, and as a structural way that we could allow the viewer to really connect with the main protagonist. And so now, like, what's our key takeaway as content creators? Don't do things that are arbitrary. Don't do things for the sake of doing them. It is the Cracker Jack box example over and over and over and over again. Like, you can use the retention hacks to keep people there, but if you don't have a purpose for them, why are you doing them? If you do a loop and it's like, oh, this is just a cool loop, like, that's great. But if you break it down further and it's like, okay, cooking audiences really want to see the end product, but that also is our dopamine hit from making the product, is showing the end result. So now we have a non-arbitrary method of hooking the viewer with a cool product and also generating more session time and watch time on their videos. And so someone did it on accident, but it's our job as content creators to go, why does this work? And then break it down. And then the way that I do that is I go find way better writers and way better directors. And I'm like, what are they doing? What are they saying? And then I take that and I try to make it better. And so that's like my goal, to kind of like give y'all more insight into me, is to make cinema level YouTube videos in all areas. I want to make IRL gaming cinema level. I want it to be very cinematic, very cool, very stimulating, but then have them be really stupid and funny and about topics that you would never find in a theater. And what does that create? It creates a place where you can't go anywhere else to consume what I'm creating. And like, that is my purpose and that is my goal. And so what are you making that people can't go anywhere else to get? And I think that that's really important, whether it's cooking, whether it's gaming, whether it's IRL, whether it's, I don't know, whatever you make. It doesn't matter. It's all about that.
Exactly. And I love that. I love that as a point to end on, because we are out of time. Haley, thank you so much for being a part of this. This has been an incredible conversation. I hope that everybody here in the chat, I hope that you've been taking notes, because there's a lot of great wisdom being doled out here. Haley, for as we're heading out, tell everybody again about yourself, where people can find you, what you're doing, what you've got exciting that's coming up. Like, tell everybody about what's going on.
Yeah, you can find me at Halite on all the socials, or Halite Hunter, because for whatever reason, everyone keeps taking the name Halite on every social platform, but then they like don't post. Like, literally, it's like 0 follower accounts. And I'm like, hey man, can I buy this off you? And no response. And I'm like, okay. So it's Halite Hunter on some platforms, but Halite everywhere else. We don't post as frequently as you might expect someone who's on something like this would, but that's because right now we're working on taking our set standard of content and bringing in new and excited people to fill in roles within my system to help me make videos so we can make more of them. So the end goal is to be able to consistently create like the kind of concepts and the things that I'm talking about at that elevated level. And so that goes back to the idea of short-term sacrifice for long-term gain, operate in, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, you can find me there. I'm so grateful for you having me on. Like, this was genuinely so much fun. Love yapping, obviously. Who doesn't love yapping? But I think you asked a lot of great questions and you allowed me to talk. And so I think you did a great job as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. And if you haven't gotten enough of me yet, I go by Nubbins Inc. pretty much everywhere on the internet, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, the the usual places. If you haven't gotten enough of me tonight, I'm gonna be playing some Valorant. Or no, I'm gonna be playing. No, we're changing it up. We're playing Helldivers. We're playing Helldivers tonight because that game
Conflict.
is chaos, and I'm excited to see what it's all about. And yeah, if you like this show, we try and do it every single week, Thursdays at 1 p.m. It's tough. Things come up. Sometimes we don't do it every week, but we try to. And yeah, so hopefully next week we will be able to see you again. If you've got questions, bring them. I love talking about streaming. Like I said, the goal of Office Hours, help you be a better streamer, help you be a better content creator. And I hope that we are able to enlighten you, give you something to think about going into your weekend. Sit down with a notebook, think about how you're going to change up your content creation as a result of this. And again, Haley, thank you so much for being a part of this. Again, really, really amazing stuff. I know I already learned a lot from this too. So thank you so much for being here. Go out, create, and happy streaming, y'all. We'll catch you next time. Have a good one, everybody.